Guys, have you noticed a trend recently? How many non-gacha free-to-play games have we got just this year or have been announced? We got Ananta, we got Where Winds Meet, we got Duet Night Abyss. Just a year back, every single company out there wanted to make gacha games. Every single company, okay? They wanted a slice of that pie, that very tasty, delicious gacha pie. Suddenly something happened, and now even the companies that were known to make very predatory, very pay-to-win, very scummy games in the past have suddenly started shifting away from gacha and have started making non-gacha games that are free-to-play friendly, that have only paid cosmetics and stuff like that. So I guess a huge shift in the industry is happening right now, and maybe this is something that we as consumers haven't realized it, but these gacha companies and these investors surely have realized that something is going on, and that is why suddenly every single company is shifting away from gacha. I guess we need to talk about this, right? So a lot of gacha games are actually not doing their best right now. A lot of games just making really bad revenue, multiple games going end of service, multiple games changing monetization after they release. Community has a lot of issues with the popular games that are going on. Basically, there is just a lot of chaos surrounding gacha games everywhere. See guys, this is something I guess everyone realizes. Gacha games make the maximum amount of money when the game releases. Just within the first few months, most gacha games make enough money to make up not only the cost of developing the game, but they also make enough profits that their investors are happy. Now, as the game progresses, as time passes, the games generally do make revenue, but it is never as much as they made when the game was released, okay? They can update the game, they can add new events, they can add banger characters, they can rework the entire graphics, whatever they want to do, they can do. But normally what happens is gacha games peak when they release for like a few weeks, they stay at the peak, and then later down the road, they just keep dipping in revenue. There are few peaks here and there. Sometimes they are getting more revenue than normal, but they never really reach the level that they had when they released the game. And so I guess this is something that the investors and the devs have suddenly realized, because now I think what they're trying to do with most of these gacha games, if you look at the ones that are at the bottom of the list, right, the ones that are going end of service and stuff like this, what they're trying to do is they're trying to make gacha games that make the maximum amount of money in the first few months, like milk the players as much as you can within 2 or 3 months, and once they have made enough money to cover their development costs and make some profit, they just dip out. They don't really care about how the game is going to sustain long term. They don't really care if players are actually enjoying the game or not, because they are there just for the short term. They just want to make that quick cash and they just want to dip out. And what's happening is this is breaking player trust, right? In a gacha game, a lot of people actually spend money, and you can spend upwards of thousands of dollars in a gacha game. So in a game like this where people are spending money, trust matters a lot. And when developers continuously make games that break player trust, people just don't want to try new gacha games anymore. I mean, take an example of Black Beacon, right? This game was not really a bad game, but they really treated the global players so bad. The game had a lot of issues both in global and in CN, and apparently they were treating the CN players really good. They were giving them compensation, they were replying to CN players' problems, but on the other hand, they were basically automating the global server. They were not paying attention to global people at all. Let me be completely honest with you guys, if any devs are watching this, if you make a different version of the game for CN and global, and you treat CN players different from global, somehow it definitely impacts the mentality of people who are playing your game, okay? Most people will definitely feel infuriated because they are not being treated the same way as CN people are. So if you are making 2 different servers for a game, one for CN, one for global, you definitely have to make sure that both the servers are getting the same amount of treatment. Both of them are getting the same freebies. Both of them have similar prices when it comes to in-game stuff. This game definitely messed that up, and yeah, this game was not even that old, but it's going end of service. Then there's games like Stella Sora, right? The game was completely different when it was in beta, when the devs were basically marketing the game to the people. They were showing how good the game is, and after release they just mess up the monetization. This is the perfect example of a game where they try to milk the audience as much as they can when the game drops, okay? So what they're planning to do is probably get as much money as they can within 2 months of the game dropping, and after 2 or 3 months this game will also probably be end of service within a year or 2. Let's be completely real. This game will probably just join all of these other games: Final Fantasy Brave, Exuvius, Sword Art Online Versus, alright, all of these games. Even these games, I don't think this is gonna be doing that good, right? Black Beacon, just look at it, man. The revenue dropped from $48,000 to $4,700. That is like a 10 times drop in revenue, and that is absolutely crazy. And $4,000, $2,000, bro, $6,000, even $10,000, $15,000. This is like really low revenue for a game. It's almost impossible to run a game with this much amount of money, because they have to be paying their staff as well, right? These are live service games. They have to run servers, they have to hire designers, voice actors, and whatnot in order to keep these games running. $2,000, $4,000. How are they going to manage these games? So you can already see that a lot of these games will probably enter EOS in a few months. One Punch Man World was actually kind of a decent game, to be honest, but the reason again this game messed up was because they treated CN different from global. That's exactly what happened with this game as well. And honestly, these small studios are not the only ones that are suffering, okay? Even big studios are not really doing that good. When big studios, I'm talking about Hoyoverse, I'm talking about Kuro. Big gacha game developers, they are also not really doing that great. I mean, take a look at a few of Hoyoverse games, right? Zenless Zone Zero is in like 14th position. It's making peanuts compared to what it used to make. They made a little bit of money a few months back, okay? Yeah, it was like 22 million, but then it has just dropped. Zenless is absolutely dropping. It's dropping like crazy, okay? It has reached 12 million. And take a look at Honkai Star Rail, for instance. Honkai Star Rail right now is making $23 million. This is lower than what it made last month, right? And Honkai Star Rail peaked in July. Just look at how much it was making. It made $92 million, right? And now it's sitting at a staggering $23 million. Wuthering Waves is not doing good either. I mean, Wuthering Waves, we have to be real, right? Wuthering Waves was never making record amount of money, but it has definitely gone down, as you can see. It was making a little bit decent money in the middle, right? But it's just 14 million, 21 million, and then it was 21 million, and then now it's at 16 million again. So Wuthering Waves has also started dipping when it comes to revenue. Genshin popped up a little bit because, yeah, we got an entirely new Archon patch, we got lots of new characters, we got Miriastra Wonderland, but Genshin also, let's be real, the community is not really very happy with Miriastra Wonderland, right? I'm gonna take a look at it this way, okay? So Hoyoverse probably did the research and they figured out that Genshin is not gonna be making enough money just through character gacha. Maybe because the game is pretty old right now. It's like many years old at this point, right? So you cannot expect Genshin to be making like $300-400 million again. So they realized that maybe it's time to add a second layer of monetization into the game. So people are going to be paying for gacha characters. People are now going to be paying for cosmetics and cosmetic gacha as well. I think that was the whole reason why they added Miriastra Wonderland. It was not to just make the game a better game or to add more QOL or anything like that. The main reason Genshin did this was probably because Hoyoverse realized that revenue from gacha is not going to be sufficient to run this game for another few years. And the community is not really happy with Miriastra Wonderland. I mean, people are calling it a greedy mode that has paywall skins behind gacha, right? People love the concept but then hate the execution. It's like something that you will find a lot of people complaining about. HSR situation once again is also not really looking that good. I mean, I just showed you guys the dip in revenue, right? They went down from $92 million to what, something 23 million. So people are really calling out on Cyrene, saying she's not really that good of a unit, which is why their sales have definitely tanked. And also, not gonna lie, the power creep situation has become so bad in HSR that they now have to go ahead and buff previous characters. Something similar is going on in Zenless Zone Zero. I mean, just take a look at the HP inflation condition in this game, right? Every single patch, they just inflate the HP of enemies, and this has not really gone down. This has just increased. They are continuously increasing the HP of enemies to the point where now they are now again going back and buffing their previous characters. So same move what HSR did, they're doing the same move, going back and buffing their previous characters. But this is not really helping the game, to be honest. Like, Zenless Zone Zero is literally sitting at 14th position, making peanut money compared to rest of the Hoyoverse games. I mean, just take a look at the total number of viewers watching this game on Twitch, right? 453 viewers. This is like really low numbers for a game. Okay, for a Hoyoverse game, one which has like 145k followers, one that is like absolutely huge when it comes to budget and everything, this is just peanut numbers. Honkai Star Rail is not really doing that good either. It's got 1.8k viewers and 1k viewers are watching Mr. Pokey. Mr. Pokey is just absolutely viral, right? So, so whatever he streams, people are gonna be watching him. But yeah, it's not really looking that good for Hoyoverse games. In fact, when you compare it to really small gacha games like Chaos Zero Nightmare, this game has got 2.8k viewers. So you can get the idea, right, that how the popularity of gacha games, especially Hoyoverse games, has declined over the years. Because this is just a really small gacha game. This is not Hoyoverse, bro. This is a really small gacha game. It just came out a few weeks back, and it's not even an open world game. It's a turn-based game with chibi artwork. The story is really good, but yeah, it's not by some huge publisher. So if this can manage 2.8k viewers, meanwhile Zenless Zone Zero is sitting at what, 400? That is a really bad sign. And I think deep inside, Hoyoverse has also realized that maybe gacha is not going to be working that good for their monetization model. So if you look at Hoyoverse's future games, if you look at Petit Planet, they are focusing more on monetizing through cosmetics, through furniture. You know, it's basically like Animal Crossing, right? So they're going to be trying out that different kind of monetization. They're not leaning heavily on gacha. If you take a look at the new Hoyoverse game, it's by MiHoYo. It's not exactly by Hoyoverse, but basically same thing, guys. But yeah, they are developing a new MMO, and apparently this is gonna be like an MMO game. It's not gonna be a gacha game, right? It just says that it's gonna be MMO. So even hoyoverse is slowly shifting away from gacha, because maybe they realize that gacha is not going to be the future trend of game. Wuthering Waves is not really doing that good, right? It's no surprise the current patch in Wuthering Waves is probably the worst patch we have had ever since the game released. I will go ahead and say that this is probably one of the worst patches I have seen in any gacha game so far. Okay, literally next to no content, really boring and bland events, and it shows in their revenue, right? Their revenue has tanked because of this one patch. As you can see, it just went down. So even after they made a really good character like Yan, it was not enough to bring back the revenue, because you have like literally no gameplay in your game, bro. What are people going to be doing after logging in? You cannot just bring back players by making a really good character. This is not Nikke, bro. It does not work like that. Meanwhile, on the other side, we have games like Duet Abyss. We have games like Where Winds Meet. Both of these games do not have gacha, and yeah, I'll agree, Duet Abyss did not really have the best launch because the game was kinda unoptimized and ran like shit on mobile. If you are advertising your game as mobile, it needs to run on mobile, right? But that shit was basically a PowerPoint presentation on mobile, and people were facing lots of different kinds of lags, login issues and stuff. So that did tank the player base of Duet Abyss. But the people who actually got in, people who were actually playing the game, they are praising the game. The game is pretty good. And Where Winds Meet, I still am in awe how good that game is. Like, I feel illegal to play that game for free. It feels better than $70 games that I have paid for, right? And there is no gacha in that game. All they do is just sell cosmetics, and the cosmetics in that game are so good. I know they will be making a lot of money from them. Ananta, they just announced that Ananta is not going to be having any sort of gacha, and you can see that game has a huge amount of hype. And honestly, guys, after seeing how good Where Winds Meet is, I trust NetEase on Ananta. I know they're going to be cooking, because NetEase is basically on their redemption arc. They made Marvel Rivals that was absolutely insane on PC. They make Where Winds Meet. I mean, they don't make it, they publish it, but yeah, it's another really good game. Absolutely insane. If you guys have not tried it, guys, do yourself a justice and go ahead and try the game. And now they're also making Ananta, and after seeing the past two games, I know NetEase is gonna be cooking something good. And honestly, you know, even if these studios did not stop making gacha games, at some point I think we players have also become a little bit tired of playing gacha games. How many gacha games can a person even play? Now let's be real, most gacha players probably started with Genshin. Genshin was probably their first gacha game they ever downloaded in their life and they ever played, because that was such a good game. But now we have so many games. We got Honkai Impact, we got Honkai Star Rail, we got Zenless Zone Zero, we are getting more Hoyoverse games that are going to be launching in the future. We got Tears of Thermis. Even as someone who only plays Hoyoverse games, you have to now play so many different games. You have to log in into each and every one of those games every single day. If you are someone who spends money, suddenly now you are spending money on so many different games at once. Then there is games by other studios like Wuthering Waves. I know many people who play Genshin Impact and Wuthering Waves at the same time. So the gacha audience has now basically started to split up. Earlier there was like a huge chunk of people who used to play Genshin Impact, but now as more Hoyoverse games released and now as other studios started making more gacha games, the number of gacha players has suddenly not increased. They are still like almost the same number of people who used to play before, but now they are being divided between all of these games. And what's happening is every new gacha game that releases is going to be taking players from this existing pool of players. So it's not only releasing to a potentially smaller player base, but it's also affecting the player base of all the existing gacha games. That is why it's like, you know, a domino effect. More gacha games release, less money all the existing gacha games make. Because how much money is one person going to be spending on gacha games, right? If a person is playing just one gacha game, they're going to be spending all money on that. But now if the person has to play 5 different gacha games, he's going to be spending the same amount of money, but it's going to be divided between 5 games, right? So each game is now getting a smaller portion. So companies seem to have realized this, and now they have decided to stop making gacha games. I mean, how many new gacha games have you heard of coming that are really popular? Maybe Arc Knights Enfield, but then Arc Knights Enfield was like teased many years back, right? So they cannot just suddenly go ahead and change the monetization. That would be pretty difficult for them. But as of right now, not many companies are keen on making new gacha games. Even companies that were making gacha games are thinking twice before releasing a new gacha game. Honestly, this is a really good shift in the industry, because gacha games, you know, like they have a very predatory form of monetization, I believe. So on PC, normally what we had was, even in free games, we had paid cosmetics, we had all that stuff, right? Gacha games were never really that popular on PC, but mobile market seems to have been crowded with gacha games. And so I'm really glad that mobile games are also shifting towards the same direction as PC, right? We are getting more and more games that do not have gacha, that have like paid cosmetics. There's no pay to win and all that stuff. Free games, really good games, but only monetization is cosmetics. I think that is good for the game itself, for the studio itself, because it keeps players happy and you make like a really dedicated fan base that sticks with your game for a long time. game. It's healthy for the studio, it's healthy for the player base as well. And gacha has honestly become very saturated. It's basically the same situation as what happened with battle royale games, right? Like 4 or 5 years back, we were having one battle royale game every single day. Every studio was making one new battle royale game, to the point where it became so saturated that people just stopped playing battle royale. Now, very few people actually are interested in playing those games anymore because they just got tired of doing the same shit again, right? Tell me it's not boring to just log in into gacha games every single day, do your dailies for 15 minutes and log out. That's like a really, really boring gameplay, right? It gets boring really fast. It feels like work. It does not even feel like a game at this point. If you take a look at battle royales that I just gave an example of, PUBG and Fortnite are still doing fine. They did not die out, right? But the popularity of battle royale games has decreased by such an amount that we don't get a new battle royale game every single month. So maybe something like that is going to happen with gacha. Gacha's popularity has dropped to a point where we are not going to be getting a new gacha game every month. So let me know your opinions and your thoughts down in the comments. What do you think of this situation? What is going to happen to hoyoverse games? Because as of right now, all of their games are kind of in a downward spiral. Let's be real. And I'll see you guys in the next video.